for May
5:30. Shall we get started? Okay. All right, well, let us get started. We'll stand and start with our pledge to allegiance of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So with that, we call this meeting to order and we'll do roll call. Let's see, we have, I see Andy Mark, you're online. Yes, I see the name.
Hello, Andy. Hello.
And we have Judy here.
Yep, I'll be here.
And I'm here. Carl has resigned
Resign, yeah.
or stepped down for family medical issues. And then Kevin is out also. Tohig. Is that how you pronounce it? Tuhig. He's gone. He had a death in the family, and we do have a motion. So we have enough for quorum, and there's also a letter here that we need to have a motion for him excused absence. Is that correct?
I'll
So-
make a motion we excuse
Okay. Do I have someone who seconds that, Andy?
Andy. Hello.
She's raising her hand.
She raised her hand. I'll take that as we'll take that as a yes. All in favor?
Well, any discussion first?
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry. Discussion first before we vote. Yep.
No.
At the second, no discussion. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Andy, give us
There
a
we go.
thumbs up. Okay. That motion is approved and I just signed this, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or did I sign or just
Or
put the date?
Just put the date.
Today's a 16th. It's time out. Okay, so the next thing then is we'll do some here. Do we have any additions to the agenda from last month? 3 weeks ago? Doesn't seem that long ago. Things are moving quite along. Andy, you have any? I see your hands up, Andy. Did you have something or is that from the last vote? I take that as a no. Okay. Judy?
Nope.
No additions? Okay. Next is the interested citizens audience request. Oh,
Point of order, move to approve the agenda.
okay, I'll just follow this. Okay. Any motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion we approve the agenda.
Andy, do you second that? I can. All right.
There was
Any
my-
discussion on that? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Andy's hand is still up again, down and up. Okay, so the minutes are approved by motion and
No, the agenda.
the agenda, I'm sorry, minutes, the agenda. Next is the interested citizens audience requests and comments. Any?
Is
Anyone
anyone to talk
online?
or she just says her hand
She
up?
says she can't unmute, but
Oh.
she shows as unmuted on my end.
Huh. That one.
That happened with Carl too. a lot.
If she can't unmute, then we can't have any discussions.
Well, she can type in the chat.
Yeah,
I guess so, yeah.
okay, so there's no one online wants to have any audience comments. All right, so the next one then is the approval of the minutes from September 25th. Have a motion to approve that.
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes.
I think
And
Andy made the motion.
Andy made a motion. Do I have
I'll
a
second the motion.
Okay. Any discussion on that? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Andy gives us a hands up. Okay. The minutes from September 25th, 2025 are approved. And now our staff reports. This is Elisa.
Good evening. Good to see all of you. So as Joe David mentioned, Carl has had to resign, and I'm very sorry to see him go. The the mayor will announce that vacancy in the next city council meeting, which is next Tuesday, and applications will be accepted. There's a process to go through to, and the mayor ultimately appoints all positions in the planning commission. So we'll look forward to a new member.
How long has Carl been with the commission?
He's been here the 3 years
Yeah, I
I've
was
been
gonna say
here,
3.
maybe 3.5.
Yeah,
Mhm.
a little less than that. 'Cause when you gave us all dates, he's after me, and that would have been 4. So
Okay.
he's about 3.
And he has been serving on our steering committee, so the periodic updates steering committee. So since not everyone's present tonight, I won't ask for a new representative, but in the November meeting, I'd like to hopefully have someone interested in serving on our periodic updates steering committee, which meets every other month for an hour on a Thursday morning and oversees the comprehensive plan and the development regulation updates. So I can, if anyone's interested, I can give more information about that opportunity, but just want to put it out there for a discussion next time.
And is that just strictly for a commissioner's position to? fulfill that?
So the committee is made up of a variety of folks. So we have a city council representative, a school district, DSHS, Reimagine. I think who else? Oh, a couple different people from the school district, Parks Board, right? So we have a variety of representatives on there. So Carl will be invited to stay on that if he chooses as just an at-large member, but we will need an actual planning commission representative in the future. And that's really all it's only been 3 weeks. That's all I have to.
Well, the next, do you need to sit down?
No, I'm just gonna grab my paper.
Because next, I think you're up next for scheduled items.
It's the one person chatting.
You had the floor.
Okay, so the next item is trends and opportunities for our comprehensive plan, and it's in your packet. There's a few pages. I don't have any kind of presentation to go with this. The trends and opportunities were initially provided to our steering committee, and they gave some feedback. They were revised, and so we've created this quick guide to trends and a quick guide to opportunities. And basically trends are what has been happening in our community. There's a variety of subjects. It may not include everything you would expect, but we were just trying to cover some of the larger items. And the reason it's important to look at these trends is this direction the direction we want to continue in? And then the opportunities basically are, where could we go from here? Some of the topics are the same and some of them are different, but it's the same idea that when looking, this is all leading up to our comprehensive plan. So these lists of opportunities and descriptions, this is where we're looking to go with our comprehensive plan. So if you read any of these opportunities and you think this is not what you believe our community is looking for, this is what we'd like to hear from you, the Planning Commission, from our citizens. These, I didn't double check today. They should be on our website. We have a comprehensive plan update page on our website for citizens to see. This isn't something that gets finalized per se. This is something that's a talking point. So for everyone to look at, discuss, and in order for us to move to the next step in our comprehensive plan update. I know I spoke with Andy on the phone today. She had a couple of questions and comments about what were in the documents. Do either of you have?
No, I read it. I thought it was great. A lot of good information. I liked the statistics on our growth of the city for how the population and some of the areas that were, or how, I like the historical zoning information on there too. That was very, very insightful.
Yes, I had just come across that 1975 zoning map because I don't actually have the 1975 comprehensive plan. I haven't located it. I found that map in a bicycle plan. And so, it cites it as being from the comprehensive plan. So it was really interesting because I've always wondered why we have so many duplexes around town that are currently in a single family zone, and that basically answered that question, is that the zone has changed over time.
I like that. It's very good. Some really good information. Thanks for putting that together.
I mean,
Okay.
and you are always welcome to contact me at another time and encourage other people to read these, provide comment. Our website page, there's a button to submit comment at any time on any subject, so welcome to hear all that. That's all I have for the trends and opportunities. But I have the next subject too.
Yep. Periodic update.
This one I have a presentation. So you have the 11 by 17 schedule as part of your packet. So this presentation all has to do with this schedule. And hopefully you've had a little bit of time to look at it. There'll be no quizzes tonight about this, but I'm gonna try to explain more in depth, like what it is that we are looking at for the next 12 months. For the viewers online, this is the schedule that we're looking at. I'm not going to keep it on here. It is also, if it wasn't put up today, it should be on our website on the comprehensive plan update page, and you can find it in our packet for today's planning commission meeting. Next slide, please. So before I actually get into all of this for the schedule, I'm going to take just a step back, and that is because as a planning commission, and I recognize that everybody has served a different length of time, we have been doing mainly quasi-judicial reviews, and a quasi-judicial review is a development, like something that is physically going to happen. So those are applications like we have had the Martin Street Wetland, Ring Lake Estates, the city docket, the Coney Island Park are 3 examples that have come through here in recent times. We've also done legislative. We've done a critical area ordinance, which was a little while back. And more recently, the shipping container amendment to the municipal code, which was initiated by a citizen, but nevertheless was a legislative change because it changed our municipal code. So for quasi-judicial, like I said, it's the physical, it's the applications. And when you review these, you're looking at the existing policies and regulations. And you have criteria that's spelled out in the code. So every review has a different set of criteria, and that's what the decision is based on. For the legislative review, that is about the comprehensive plan and the development regulations. And when I refer to development regulations, generally what I'm speaking about are titles 15 through 19 of our municipal code. So our municipal code has many titles, but not all of them are development related. And then in this situation, either something's being created or amended. So for our comprehensive plan, we keep calling it an update because that is what happens in this state. We have periodic updates, but in reality, our particular comprehensive plan is a bit of a rewrite. So we're not starting from scratch by any means, but we are going to produce a comprehensive plan that looks quite a bit different from what we've had in the past, and hopefully it would be much better for our community and serve much better as a roadmap for what we want in the future. But both of these, quasi-judicial or legislative, ultimately, Planning Commission is making a recommendation because you're an advisory body, and the City Council is going to make the final decision on either of these. So the schedule that you have, you can see that ultimately the city council is doing that final decision and adoption of all the pieces. Can we actually go back one slide to the schedule? Thank you. I wanted to comment quickly on, I had a couple of notes to go with this. One is this has the comprehensive plan on the far left, and then it has many amendments to the development regulations. So the comprehensive plan, you can see several steps there, and I've divided it into 3 parts. So these 3 parts don't really exist yet. We have sort of an outline of what we're hoping for, but instead of waiting and presenting like an entire comprehensive plan in one shot, I'm looking to do parts so we can talk about it more concisely. So we're not looking at the whole thing at one time, but ultimately the planning commission hearing will be after we've introduced all of the parts. So there'll be time to look, review, comment, change, and then we'll have the hearing here at the planning commission, and then we'll move on to the hearing with the city council. But it'll be going back and forth. So we'll have the planning commission workshop, the city council workshop, the planning commission, the city council. That way we get, both parties have time to review, to give input, to affect it. And because, for instance, in a quasi judicial review, everything goes through planning commission, you do that recommendation, then we move on to city council. And in this instance, it doesn't really make sense to do that. 1, timeline. We don't have a ton of time. And 2, we don't really want to wait for the city council to see this later, because if they have any input concerns, like we want that early on. We don't want it to have to come back to planning commission. Let's see. These subtopics that I've created, which I'll talk more about throughout the presentation, they are groups that I have created predicting the need that we will need to do. So we don't have our comprehensive plan yet. It's in the works, and all these development regulations are potentially how we are implementing the comprehensive plan, how we're carrying that out. In addition, there's several mandates from the state, so those are for sure, and those are included. But there could be additional subtopics, but hopefully they will all fall into these categories, these groups that I've already created. But we will learn, or that will be, we will learn as we go, as the comprehensive plan develops. Another thing about the schedule is it's a 12-month schedule starting next month, essentially. And our deadline for all this to be adopted is December 31st of 2026. And so that only gives us a 2-month buffer for getting through this process. So it's going to be a balance of taking the time to really understand and review what's happening, but keeping to a schedule, a timeline, so we can finish, because 2 months is not a lot of wiggle room if we have to push things back, which inevitably could happen. Okay, there we go. The role of the city council and planning commission. So I mentioned that the planning commission is advisory. So city council, they're the policy makers. They're the ones who adopt the ordinances that change our municipal code and make our laws. They're also the body that adopts our comprehensive plan, the guiding light for all the policy, at least in the land development venue. And they are elective and are responsive to the public that elected them. Whereas the planning commission, ultimately appointed by the mayor, but she does discuss with the council, and therefore advisory to the council. So just always keep in mind that your role is extremely important, but the final decision does get made by our legislative body, the council. So these things, these items reflect what is in the schedule. The colors do correspond, but it's not that important. But these are the 6 meetings that will occur for most of the development regulations. There's 2 exceptions. The enforcement and street vacations. I have asked our legal department to give me an answer on this. I haven't received it yet. But these 2, they're not in titles 15 through 19. Enforcement will be Title 1, street vacations is Title 11. So not being land use, I don't think these need a hearing at Planning Commission level. So I will still bring them to you to inform you and get your feedback, but we won't need to hold a hearing at this level most likely. So that's not on the schedule right now. If it turns out we do, the schedule will get adjusted, but I'm waiting to hear back from legal on that. So just stepping through here. So in the past, it depends on what we're doing. For instance, we did do the project review last year. And we did start out with a workshop. So that's what we'll start out here is I'll come in with a workshop. So not specific language. I'll just be discussing the subject and the things that need to be addressed to get the general ideas and get your feedback on that. Then I will go to the city council and do the same thing. And that is, once again, to get their feedback early on rather than waiting. Plus, we have a timeline that we have to adhere to. So that first city council workshop will also be an idea workshop. The first time that language will be written is for the planning commission hearing. So when you get your packet for planning commission, that will have the language. It will not be in an ordinance form. It'll just be the proposed language for the municipal code. Then after you review, you make a recommendation. I will carry that on to city council. And so city council, the first one, it's a workshop. And it also will be the language not in ordinance form, just language to look at and get their feedback on. And they will consider your recommendation. Then the next step is the city council hearing. So at that point, we will have the language in ordinance form. And the city council per our municipal code is required to do 2 readings on any ordinance. So we will have our first reading with a public hearing and then a second meeting with a second read and hopefully adoption. Now, I do expect between all of these meetings, there will be changes, right? Even up between the first and second reading, I'm fully expecting changes because we have this tight timeline. What I'm hoping will not happen is that we can't proceed forward, that there's something that is too big to prevent the motion to keep it moving forward because of our timeline. So this is the comprehensive plan, which I pointed out on the schedule, that idea of the 4 parts. Excuse me, 3 parts. And then once we get through the 3 parts, we have the planning commission hearing, then the city council hearing, and then that second read and hopefully adoption. Thank you. And stop me at any time. I know this is a lot of information and you can always ask me later to it when you think it over a little more. So this slide has a lot of words on it. I apologize. The development regulations, the amendments I've grouped, as I said, trying my best to try to put these in smaller chunks so we can all look at them as a group and not be overwhelmed by too many subjects at one time. So on the left, you have some pages in your packet where I believe there's 9 amendments, maybe 10 at this point. amendment groups, and each one of them have this little table that's set up. So the first is the subject matter, and then in parentheses there, it has the subset subjects. So for instance, this is affordable housing, and the subjects are accessory dwelling units, co-living, conversions, and middle housing. And then the next box below that, it says mandate. And these are all the RCWs, sometimes they're WACs, but generally RCWs that have some legislative change has led to this requirement. How I got to all this, you may or may not remember, I had mentioned a checklist that I was required to do for the state, the Department of Commerce. And basically this checklist, which is maybe 50 pages long, has all the requirements for the comprehensive plan and the development regulations. And it's basically, does your comprehensive plan or code currently have this? And if the answer is no, you have to say how you're going to remedy that. So all of these are based on all the no's in our checklist, and our checklist is available on our website if anybody wants to go look at that. It's fun reading, but that's how we got to this point, is going through that checklist that was provided by the state. Now, not 100% of the things we're doing are mandates. Some of them are for the good of our community, but we have to do both. The next down, it says titles receiving new language. So for this particular one, Title 19 is our newer title, land use and development. And especially for those folks that haven't been on the commission long, our goal with our municipal code is to move everything from 15 through 17 or 18, titles 15 through 18 into Title 19 eventually. So every time we amend the code, we're moving that section into Title 19. So it's a more concise, easier to read, easier to administer title. Which explains the next box down that says requiring amendment. So Title 17, it's going to come out of there and go into 19. And the notes will vary depending on the group, the subject, but this one, for instance, ADUs are of course going to be required for us. So there's several things about ADUs. Co-living is something that is going to be required to go into our code. And then we discussed at our last time about middle housing. There's going to be some changes to a couple of our zones, the R2 and R3 zone. And then on the right side of the table is the schedule. So hopefully all the dates on that match your larger colorful timeline, but that's more of a quick reference for each one. So why are we doing all these amendments? As I said, we're carrying out the comprehensive plan, which is a little like, why ideally we'd do the comprehensive plan, get that adopted, follow it up with all our development regulations, but we just have so many development regulations. It would be nearly impossible, maybe not impossible, but I just don't think we as staff, you as a reviewer, the city council as policymakers, I don't think people would be as comfortable with so much in so little time. So when we go through this, these development regulations are supposed to align with the comprehensive plan, but the comprehensive plan will be in development. So I will do my best to help that along and show you the correlations of that. But the comprehensive plan, I think the date is maybe May when we're hoping to get that adopted. So there's going to be at least a couple of things that might be in the adoption phase for development regulations prior to the comprehensive plan actually getting adopted, but hopefully the language has already been available so we can look at how they relate. So why groups? I mentioned there's a lot. It'll be easier to understand if we take them all in sections rather than all at one time. I have a list of the groups here. We have amendment criteria. And I guess I'll take a moment there. So amendment criteria, right now, our municipal code has amendment criteria for any time we want to update the comprehensive plan, the development code, or a zoning map. It's all the same criteria, no matter what you're doing. And it's not the greatest criteria. We've used it a couple times in reviews that we've done, and it's not the best for being able to evaluate. And I didn't have this on here initially, and then when I realized we were gonna do all these reviews, I thought we should look at the criteria first and decide if what are the best criteria for evaluating all these reviews that we're about to do. So amendment criteria enforcement, we've discussed this a bit. Our municipal code in general is lacking in enforcement. It's been a big topic for the 3 years I've been here and probably many years before that. So we are working to add a lot better enforcement language into our municipal code that will apply to the entire code, not just the development regulations. Street vacations, this is another one that is not, it's not really part of mandatory development regulations, but right now we have nothing in our municipal code regarding street vacations. And if you don't know, a street vacation, because it's a weird title, is when you take a public right of way and you give it to a private party. So it can be an alley, it can be a street, it can be part of a street. So in this city, well, maybe not strangely, we have very large right of ways and we have a number of alleys. And over the years, we have vacated many of them, giving them to private owners. It goes to the adjacent owner. So it's not a random person, it's the property that's adjacent. And we do not receive money for any of those because we don't have any policy. We don't have any criteria. I just have no idea how the decisions were made in the past. So this is something that's been on our to-do list for almost the full 3 years I've been here. So it was just a good time to get that in there. Another thing I'll say about street vacations, it's not very easily seen here. I'll move over a little bit, but like this green area on our zoning map, that's the middle school. Nobody ever vacated any of the streets. So the middle school and the high school are built on streets, right? I don't have any idea why, but they are. So that's something we'd like to see change, is we'd like to vacate the streets where they're actually have buildings sitting on them. And it's not just the school district. Our maintenance building is another one that there's a vacated street and there's a building sitting in it. So we'd like to clean that up a little bit. Let's see. Zones, so that's kind of general with our zones. Affordable housing, specialized housing, that one has a lot to do with state requirements. Transportation, subdivisions, impact fees. Our impact fees haven't really been visited since the 1990s. I think the Parks and Rec was updated, but it's been several years, so it really is a good time to look at that. And then our critical areas, even though we adopted a new critical area ordinance, it's coming up on 2 years. There's 2 subjects that I did not include in there that is mandatory by the state. So we're gonna add in, so right now we have wetlands, habitats, and frequently flooded areas. And we'll be adding in critical aquifer resource areas and geologically hazardous areas. So those will get addressed. The reason they got last on here is I think we do potentially, if we run into trouble, we have a little bit of leeway with the critical areas ordinance passing our December 31st deadline. Hoping to get everything done, but I believe the state will let us go a little bit over with that one. So that's why I got last on the list. Okay, so this is a big process that we're gonna do, and we're gonna do it over and over, and you're gonna be such experts by the end. But since you haven't, I know you saw, depending on how long you served on commission, variety of experience. So the role I have in this as the planner, so I facilitate the process. So I give you this schedule, and this is the outside world schedule. I have a schedule that's much more in-depth about when I need to have things done. These will all require SEPA reviews. They will all require public notices. I have staff reports I have to write for all of them. So it's much more in depth on my side for that schedule. But For you, you get the pretty schedule with just the meetings. I also will act as your point of contact to the city. So anything that, any questions or concerns, like I'm your point of contact during the meeting or outside of the meeting. I will attempt to demonstrate the relationship of all of the development regulations to the comprehensive plan. I will try to explain what our code says now, so you understand what's being changed. Present explanations of the mandates that we're receiving from the state. Respond to any requests that you have, so that not just questions, but information you may need. I explain how the language that I present is developed. So for instance, it's kind of a rare day you start from nothing. Generally, you look at other jurisdictions, see what their language says, might make a phone call to that jurisdiction, ask, how's this language working for you? And then make it work for us, because our community, many things are similar, but we are still unique. So you cannot just grab language from somebody else's code and use it in yours. You've got to see how it works for your community. Explain what other cities are doing. Show what implementation will look like. So that's one of the tricky ones. And you write the language, but what does that mean when it gets implemented? When someone comes in for a development, how does that play out? Describe best practices. And then ultimately, I always get to provide a report and a recommendation that will be available before each hearing in your packet. Any questions about that? So then the role of the Planning Commission. So I separated, there's a lot of things. So I kind of separated it for the review and the recommendation. So for the review, number one, be prepared and read the packet. We're on such a tight timeline that we're just, in the past, we've had situations where, the Planning Commission felt they needed more time, which is perfectly legitimate, needed more time to really think about what was going on, what was being proposed. And in this one, I encourage you to do your best to educate yourself ahead of time by reading the packet, asking any questions. And then, like I said, you're still going to have that workshop opportunity. And then you'll have the hearing also. So hopefully lots of times for you to get all your questions answered so you feel like you can make an informed recommendation. One thing is, like, ask about unfamiliar language. So tonight we already had one, right? Street vacation. Every time I use that outside of the planning world, people have no idea what that could possibly mean because it's an odd term. So anytime I'm using language, I might forget that it's familiar to me and not familiar to you. Ask questions. Ask questions of me. Ask questions of the public. When you have folks come up to make comment, please ask them questions for clarification. You don't have to take my word for things, or you can question what I've said and how did you arrive at that sort of thing. Like that is what your job is to analyze and this process and make sure that you understand everything. You can ask for information. So like I will try to provide what I think is most valuable to you, but you might have a situation where you're like, I'm just not really comprehending what's going on. And if you gave me this, I could really make a more informed decision. So never hesitate to ask me for information. Scrutinize all the information provided, both from myself and from the public. And follow the adopted rules of procedure, which you all have a copy of, and you've been very good about that, but it's important. For the recommendation, you want to think about, first, what is the relationship to the comprehensive plan? Second, focus on the greater good of the community, because a lot of times we can get focused narrowly, but we have to think for the whole community and also concentrate on the long term. So this is our comprehensive plan might be 20 years, but our development code is perpetual unless we change it. So it really is long term. You need to think about how that affects the community long term. Always listen to the public, and then base your recommendations on the approval criteria. criteria. So that is super important to always remember. Any recommendations you're making are not based on personal feelings or positions or opinions. We always have to look at the approval criteria, which I will always provide to you. And if you're unclear about any criteria, wording is not always great, please just ask. Okay, public engagement. So as we go through with all these meetings for yourselves, you're going to have 2 meetings for each. One is a workshop, one is the hearing. In the workshop, you are welcome as a commission to let the public speak in any manner. It's not formal like the public hearing. As you've witnessed in a public hearing, they must come up and state their name and we take record of it, and then they get on a list. I have to provide them information later on the decision. But workshops, it's really how you would like to handle it. When you would like the public to speak, how you want that to function, you can handle that. So the most important thing, of course, for public engagement is to listen to what the public has to say. Try to find the heart of the concern. Sometimes people are giving you a solution and you don't necessarily know what the issue is that they're trying to resolve. Remember that there's less vocal community members that have equally deserve your attention. So, some people are louder, but it doesn't mean that their concerns are more important than those that are quiet. Try to contextualize comments. Try to remember where the person who's speaking is coming from. What's their situation? How are they looking at this? This is just a statement about all of us in general. This is not specific to people coming to meetings, but we're suspicious of change. Like, that's just human nature. We're suspicious of change, and we prefer what we know to what we don't know. And so this is all about change, right? That's my job is to present change. So just remember, like, it's something that people will not be comfortable with, and we all kind of, back away from change. Also be aware of NIMBYs. I don't know if you're familiar with this term. It is not in my backyard. NIMBY stands for not in my backyard. And so this term that used to be kind of exclusively in the planning world, say 25 years ago, I do hear in general media these days. And basically it's people saying, yeah, that's a great idea, but not here. We want it somewhere else. And just try to remember, like, some things need to be dealt with here too, right? Like, we can't send all of our problems somewhere else. Like, we need to also deal with things. And then recognize the difference between legitimate concerns and irrational fears. And this kind of goes back to, like, change is difficult for us as humans, and we tend to fear it. So keep in mind and talk about it, right? Talk about whatever those concerns are and try to vet out what it is. It's really where things are coming from. Yeah. Oh, is that it? Okay, that's it. So did you have any questions about the schedule, the group tables, the presentation, your role?
Judy,
I don't think so. I think I'm good.
Andy, are you with us there somewhere?
Oh, but she's still with us?
She is.
Okay.
She's her computer.
Oh,
won't
yes,
let her.
right.
One thing I realized I skipped over here in the role of the planning commission is it's really your obligation to contribute to this as a planning commission member, and diversity of opinion is valued. We want to don't try to go with, don't feel like you have to go with the flow, right? It's good to state your own opinion. It's very valued in this review.
I didn't have anything and. Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much, Elsa. Lisa, Elsa, Lisa. Thank you. Our next portion of our agenda meeting today is a public hearing. I don't think we have any. Okay, and then I'll open it for comments or concerns from fellow commission members. I'll start with you, Judy. Do you have any, since you're right here next to me?
Nope, I'm good.
Judy's good, okay,
No, actually, yes.
Yeah,
Wait a
okay.
minute, yeah.
all right,
The white benches that I talked about last time,
yeah,
I found out they're from Spokane. And Spokane, the city, was giving them to artists around, and we just happen to have a couple of artists in town here that do a lot in town, so it wasn't us at all. That, so I'm kind of back on it. I'm gonna
but are the benches gonna be used here in the city?
research it. Nope, not the one, not the white benches. No, they're
They're
in
just gonna
Spokane,
be
yeah,
in the back.
and that. So me and the kid are back on looking at the plastic, the bottle caps and stuff, and
Okay.
researching that and everything and that. Now, question. I want to have her present it to the town and ask the town for help. Should I have her start here with the commission and then go to council, or just start right with the council?
Yeah, I mean, if she wants to practice on planning commission, I.
That's what I was thinking.
Use some nerves, but if she's ready to go, then I think we can
Okay.
make that request to council and. Or, you know, at a minimum,
Yeah.
show up to provide that comment and get that pitch.
All right, cool. So we're looking at now, maybe trying to kick it off for Earth Day. Because it's a recycling thing and blah, blah, blah.
And when is it? In November, Earth Day, or what is it?
No, Earth Day's in April.
Oh, April, oh, it's way out. Okay, so-
Yeah, it gives me time to research, get in, and I actually have to register with the company as the adult helping the children and all that. So it's gonna take a little time and that anyway, so we thought Earth Day would be a good day to,
There's
Yeah.
plenty of time.
but she's excited about, I have to talk to the council. Said, yeah, I'll stand next to you and help you if you need it. She's, okay.
That's great.
That's all I needed to.
Well, thanks, Judy. Andy, did you have anything to type in or your volumes working yet? Do you have anything?
I switched to my iPad about 5 minutes ago, but I don't have anything.
Okay, all right, well, thank you. I just want to say thank you to Elisa for all the information she gave us today. It's very good. You know, I read through it, when I got the packet a while back. Last week, I believe Roxanne sent
Friday.
it out, and then I read it again this morning, just reviewing it again. A lot of good information. Like I said, I was very enlightened by the old statistics of the zoning, how some of the zones came about. So very good information. Thank you for all that. Other than that, I don't have anything. So we will now move to our interested citizens audience requests and comments. Anybody on here in have anything? Do you have anything, sir?
Anything, no.
Okay. Online? Anybody have any comments? No hands up? Okay, well then I move to, close our meeting. Do I have a
I'll
motion?
make a motion, we go home.
All right, Judy. We got a second online?
I second the motion.
Okay. Any discussion about going home? All right, all those in favor say aye.
I don't want to go. Aye.
All right,
Aye.
we're closed at 6:19, and hopefully you can still catch half of the game if you're into that. My wife is.